Shipping professional grade software to the cloud, a visual masterclass mapping the end-to-end journey from local source code to fully automated containerized production pipeline, featuring Docker, GitHub Action, and a hosting VPS orchestration. It works on my machine, global node module, OS conflict, hard-coded environment variable. It works in a production. We stop deploying code to the bare metal server. Instead, we deploy isolated that encapsulates the exact components, ensuring environmental consistency across staging in a production application architecture. The magic stream, the client layer, reactive UI component, client layer, server layer, Go Web API, business logic, and port 8080. In database layer, MongoDB instance database port 27017. Separation of a concern. Developer focus on the logic inside three layer. DevOps focus on how to package and orchestrate them. The GUI abstraction, one-click deployment. Hosting Docker Manager, Docker Composer, HTTPS GitHub.com raw Docker Compose environment variable OpenAI API keys API host API 192.168.1.100 deploy. The abstraction layer. This graphical interface completely masks the underlying Docker engine. It pulls images, configures networks, and spins up instances behind the scene. To automate the entire pipe, we must peek under the hood. Moving to infrastructure as a code, hosting Docker Manager, Docker URL environment where Docker Compose, Docker minus Docker Compose up minus T, Docker push Gavilion web prod 101 from node to Alpine, Docker push Gavilion web prod volumes minus movie data. Every mouse click in a GUI must be translated into a declarative YML and terminal to build an automated CI/CD pipeline. Docker images, Docker container. The Docker what are the Docker images? The declarative blueprint containing the OS application code and a dependency, static and immutable, defined layer by layer in a Docker file, stored statistically in a registry. Docker container, the engineer running instance derived from that blueprint, dynamic and executing, runs in a memory process request and can be destroyed. Executed on the host machine hardware, example loop, local laptop or VPS. Anatomy of an image, the Docker expose 8080 and a CMD run main.go defines how the container listen and execute upon launch. Copy injects the actual source code payload. Copy go.mod and run go mod download fetches external packages, catches useless unless dependency changes. Work di/app sets the internal directory architecture from Golang :1.24.22 Alpine provision a lightweight Linux OS based with the Go installed. Building the image, execute declarative instructions sequentially, caching unchanged layer for the rapid subsequent build. Orchestration, the Docker Compose network port 80 to 8081, Docker Compose network magic stream app, React Web, Go app, HTTP API 8080, MongoDB. The Docker Compose isolated backend services from the public internet by default. We map only the front end port to the host machine for maximum security and orchestration. The data persistent, the volume lifeline, state 1 running. MongoDB container, the data lifeline, the host machine disk, move it before, after. MongoDB container, the data pipeline, Docker composed on host machine disk. Docker volume. Volumes are host managed directory mounted directly into the container. When the ephemeral container is destroyed in a memory during an update, the static data safely persists in the host machine playing disk. Dual environment, local versus cloud, local development strategy uses Docker Compose dev.yml to override the base configuration. Port mapping bind directly to the default framework ports 5173 for a white and React container port, host port. State execution uses Docker's watch mode files, save instantly, trigger hot reloading in the browser. Cloud production strategy uses Docker compose.prod.yl, point you to the pre-compiled immutable images. Port mapping expose compiled nginx build map to the safe external port 80 to 8021, container port 80, host port external IP to 8081. State execution configured with restart always to ensure uptime, running purely to in the detached background mode -D. Maintaining separate configuration ensures rapid iteration locally while enforcing security and stability in the cloud. The CI/CD handshake, secure authorization, GitHub Action, runner, private key, hostinger, SSH key, public key, .sh authorize user, hostinger, VDS. By generating an SSH key pair by SSH key, we grant the automated GitHub Action cryptographic authorization to log into the VPS, navigate the directory hierarchy, and execute terminal commands remotely. The autonomous pipeline deploy.yml on push branches main docker build docker push ssh hostinger underscore user at host docker dash compose pull and -d trigger build distribute access deploy. The continuous integration engine, local development, developer pushes commit git push, GitHub action receives push and triggers deploy.pipeline. Docker hub receives version and store immutable images, a fully orchestrated everything image. Hosting we execute via SSH pulls latest images, gracefully replaces old containers, zero time iteration. The end goal, zero downtime deployment. Magic stream, my awesome heading, automated CI/CD, achieve my awesome heading. Zero works on my machine excuses. By committing to the infrastructure as a code and automated pipelines, manual deployment economy is transformed into seamless professional grade shipping logistic engines.